Okay, welcome everyone. This is our Sprint 10 review meeting. And again, just to remind you of the goals of the Sprint review is we want to go through the work that was completed and also show you the work that was not completed and where we'll move on from there. And then we'd like to celebrate and say thank you to everyone who's put in a lot of hard work. We'll take questions after the demo as time permits. And as always, please document your questions and get those forwarded to John Starr and Steve Wynn. They're the product owners, and they really do a great job of filtering items coming through and making sure that we're getting the most valuable work into the project. And also, I'll remind you, if you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. It really helps for the recording quality and people watching in the future. Again, Sprint 10 is actually the beginning of phase 3, so we really quickly just wanted to go through and review what was completed during phase 1 and 2. And we really started with just a out of the box Drupal install, and we've gone through some of the site installation and setting up navigation and user roles, and even the content migration pieces, getting menu items pulled in, some of the asset migrations for pulling in files from other sites, and just getting the data set up, and then simple configuration items like getting the site search completed. And that goes straight into creating content and a lot of work into the content layout, which is really theming in Drupal speak, and going through the styling and some of the configuration and formatting options you'll have there, and of course making sure that it's responsive, meaning that it'll meet the needs for the desktop version, the tablet view, and a mobile view. And we moved forward into phase 2 and went into slightly more advanced editing or content editing and some of the nodes, adding in iTunes URLs, things like that, even more of the content migration pieces. And we also went into the groups profile, which would basically allow you to have a department site as part of a parent site, and even more with the content layout pieces. Um, as you can see, we went through some specifics with styling for staff and faculty content, and went through some of that in the demos. And along the way, we were doing some QA fixes. And for Sprint 10, we decided to really focus on some QA and support issues and make sure that as the March 1 deadline was hit, and make sure that as the product is now announced to the university as a community where you can start your migration onto the platform, we wanted to make sure that we had that at the most stable place possible. And going forward, we'll be focusing on the CBS pilot site and then the Rochester pilot site after that. But for now, I'm going to turn this over to Ryan, and he's going to show you everything that we did in Sprint 10. Ryan, are you ready?
I am.
Okay. You should be the presenter now.
I believe I am. Let me get this flipped over to screen 2. All right, can everyone see my screen okay, and can everyone hear me all right?
Ryan, I'm going to say you could probably increase your volume a bit as far as speaking.
Okay, I will do my best to do that. Let me see if I can turn it up just a tiny bit in the settings here. It doesn't look like I can do that easily. So I'm sorry, and I will just attempt to speak up. If I am too difficult to hear, let me know. All right, everyone. So first things I wanted to go over are some of the things that I will not be demonstrating because they don't merit demonstration or would be impossible to demonstrate due to their absence. And so number one, I'd like to go ahead and point out that this is on the Acquia environment. This is on the environment that the site will be deployed on. So everything you see here that you see that works correctly, you will know that it will absolutely work correctly once it is finally deployed. A couple other things I'd like to point out that are conspicuous by their absence. The jump to navigation link has been removed. The error when running update.php has been solved and taken care of. The installation profiles have been documented, and the multi-site deployment plans have been tested. A huge thank you to everyone who assisted in those processes. So, as you can see right now, we're on a landing page. This is landing page 1, creatively named. And first thing I'd like to point out is that the bug where the landing pages were not showing up correctly has been rectified. One of the main things that CBS really needed was a slider that would be responsive. And that is something that I wanted to demonstrate here as something that we have delivered. If you keep an eye on the text on the left, you can see that the text is changing along with the images. It is perfectly fair and feasible to have less text than you do images. So for example, if you only wanted to have one bit of text and to have 6 images, that would be completely fine and it would work correctly. So another thing that I wanted to mention about this is that the JavaScript that was written to make the text change along with the images has actually been placed in the core repository, which means that as other sites want to make the slider available to themselves or to others, they can just go ahead and use this JavaScript. And as long as they work within the framework we've already built, it should essentially just work with some very minimal tweaking. Another QA fix that I wanted to show very quickly is that the quick link hover has been taken care of. There is now padding on the bottom of the gray box. And the one-stop link now goes to the correct location. All right, so I would like to go to landing page 2 now. And as you can see, we're on landing page 2, which is a child in the menu element of landing page 1. And as you can see, landing page 1 is highlighted correctly to show you that you're on a child of landing page 1. And landing page 2 in the secondary menu is highlighted to show you that that is your current page. And I understand that the video is delayed, so I'm going to try and slow down just a hair. The slider caption on the left, right now, what we just got done and that I'm going to QA actually as soon as we get off the call, is the implementation of the WYSIWYG into the WYSIWYG editor into the slider caption. So yes, David, it can include markup. Steve, in answer to your questions, yes, the slider is a module. It's a module called Flex Slider. It's one that's been very pleasing to work with, and I would heartily encourage everyone looking to implement sliders if they decide that that is the route they wish to go. The other thing that I wanted to note here is that this is the same field as the slider, but if there is only one image, it will just render as an image. I will answer that question in just a moment, Christina. So if you only have one image in there, it will render as an image, not as a slider. That's all fully automated. And I would also like to show the basic responsiveness here. So developer, responsive design view. And as it shrinks, eventually this is what you end up with. The text just drops down underneath the slider, and the slider itself is at the page width. Flipping back over to our singular image, let's say that we wanted this to be a slider and not just an image. I'd like to show that process real quick, so let's go to Edit. And then we're going to just add another image. We're going to use an image that I already have in here, just for the sake of simplicity. And let's just copy this, copy this lorem ipsum text over to give us a secondary description. Let's make sure that this is published. And now it becomes a slider automatically. Requires no further interaction from the user, requires absolutely no effort. If you want it to be a slider, you just put in more than one image, that's all. And to demonstrate what I was saying earlier regarding the text, let's just say that we only wanted this description, the one at the very top, to display. And so we'll delete the second one and we'll save it. So now we have our 2 images in just one batch of text. All right. So the other thing that I put on this page was the news view. That was some feedback we got, was that the news view was not styled correctly, which is something we've taken care of. There's been some correspondence going back and forth regarding the aesthetics of this thing. This is what it looks like in its current form. It's still available to be tweaked if need be. But as you can see, it looks much nicer now than it did before. Another page that I wanted to show is the staff member and the faculty member previously did not correctly show the title. This has been taken care of now. As you can see, first name, last name, which was my creative first name and last name for this particular staff member, have been implemented correctly. Let's go back to the quick links, and I'll just click here to go to the faculty member and show the same thing. And as you can see, the first name and last name now show correctly. Note that none of these are highlighted. That is working precisely as intended because this page is not a subordinate page of any of the others. And I'll flip over to a general page, which, if you will note, has a inline table, which has been styled according to the requirements that the university got us. And thank you very much for helping us sort out what design you wanted to go with. And so for the very last thing that we needed to do, we did module updates to get the security fixes. And there are no errors that would let us know that we had any security updates now. So does anyone have any questions at this point? Actually, I believe there was one question earlier. Is the slider accessible? Yes, Christina. I put forth what I did was this text is not actually being hidden via display none or any of the other things. It's using a class which renders it visually hidden, but to a screen reader, it's still very much so there. The alt text additionally should still be accessible. I will look forward to hearing confirmation from the accessibility team at UMN about that. Were there any other questions?
I noticed when you were publishing content that the workbench moderator seemed to be showing up correctly. Is that fixed now then as well?
Yes, that fix was pulled in.
Is this the standard install, or is it the groups one that you're doing the demo on?
This is a group installation. I did it as a group installation because I actually borrowed CBS's profile because CBS has the slider in it, and that was something I very much so wanted to demonstrate.
Is the slider going to be built in with the modules on the non-CBS, so on the general platform as well then?
I don't believe so. The decision that was made some time ago was to not encourage sliders for various reasons, not the least of which is accessibility. If that's something we want to revisit, we can, but for the moment, no.
Ryan, is that the end of the demo, or are we ready to ask?
That is everything that I needed to demonstrate. So
Okay,
if you're
well,
ready to take it back over and there are no other questions, then feel free.
yeah, I was going to, while you still have your screen up, I was going to ask if there were any further questions.
Maybe you can't show this in the demo, but do you have a view showing the staff, the consolidation of either the staff or faculty content types?
A view that would show both staff and faculty.
No, so to make sure the view, I think that was one of the issues we had was that the like if you had a view that would show all of the all staff, I don't think that was rendering correctly. So I was just wondering if you've got a view showing what that looks like when you put multiple staff, a view showing them staff, I guess, or faculty.
I don't believe that the staff views were altered in this sprint. So if there was an outstanding issue with that, then the issue remains outstanding for now, and that's something I suspect we'll probably try and tackle as quickly as possible. But if there was a standing issue at the beginning, I don't believe they were messed with now. Tom or Reese, do either of you know something I don't there?
Um,
I'll verify.
yeah, we would have to verify. I mean, if you're not prepared to, get something like that shown.
No, again, I don't believe any changes were made. So the way that it stood at the end of the last sprint is the way that it currently stands.
Okay, John, does that address your question?
Yes, it does. I'll make sure I test it when we get the code.
Okay.
Great. Reese and I will be doing a deployment towards the end of the day today.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we'll go on with the slides.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Carry on, Tom.
Okay, so as Ryan mentioned, there was a few items that were complete but not in the demo, and some things just don't lend themselves to being shown. And then we had some items that were not completed. We had pulled these in. Again, for most of these stories, we actually have the code completed. We just hadn't completed, or hadn't got through the QA process at the time of the demo. So we mark those as not complete, and then we try to get those into the code release that we do. But otherwise, we move those into the next sprint and really just get those just those items completed and out of the way first thing next Monday or Tuesday morning. And as you can see, a lot of these are just works in progress and really very close, just a lot of minor details to be worked out. So we're actually really close, even though it looks like quite a few tickets. Going forward, the demo, let's always focus on just adding user stories as we need to. I know John and Steve are doing a really good job with that. And next steps would be Sprint 11. We're going to start that Monday. We'll do our planning Monday morning, and then we'll review that with John and Steve as the product owners Monday afternoon and make sure that we're all on the same page for the next sprint. The next sprint will focus on the CBS pilot and hopefully getting that corrected, or not corrected, but completed over the next sprint or two. And again, we'll start with going also at some point we'll start with the Rochester migration and getting the theming there, and um, continuing with just the knowledge transfer that we're doing. And I know Robin on our team's already done some training, and we plan to continue that likely week after next. And as always, we want to say a big thank you to everyone we're working with at UMN. You guys are a great team, and it's just really it's a pleasure to work with you guys, and we have a lot of fun. And but I feel like we get a lot accomplished during these sprints, and I just want everyone in the university to know that the folks you see on this slide, they really put in a lot of time and effort to make this project work, and we really appreciate all the hard work they're doing, and it'll make a better product for everyone. So that's the end of the demo. We'll turn it over now just to see if you guys have any questions, if there's anything in the chat log that we may have missed. We'd feel free to post anything in there or just start asking anything that's on your mind right now.
Can I ask about 22800? That was one of the ones that you said was not completed, but I think isn't that the workbench moderation issue?
That may have
And
that may have been held up in QA. That might be have a different status than what I had thought it was. I will validate that very quickly.
Yeah, John, if
okay,
I see it as marked as just ready for QA, I could consider it not complete until it's past QA. So it may actually be in there and ready to go. We just need to change the status on the ticket. So
okay, we really need that in this go to release that to be working.
okay, we'll double check that one just to make sure.
Yes, I will validate that and move on that after this, as soon as this call is over.
Yeah. And like I say, some of these it could just be as simple as updating the ticket status, and it's ready to go. Any other questions? Okay, well, I'm going to say that's the end of the demo, and everybody, thank you again and have a great weekend.